Hello, welcome. I'm Hannah, and today we're going to be talking about my 2023 makeup inventory. You might not know that a big focus of me with this channel and in my life has been kind of curating the stuff I have, and that means my makeup and my clothing. We're going to do a separate video about the clothing and just focus on the makeup for today, but I'm really excited to share for you all of the changes that I made throughout 2022. After I inventoried my clothing last year, I think that's when I mentioned my goal to declutter all of my stuff by 25%. So during last year, I was keeping a record all year where each month I had to declutter 63 items to make my goal, in addition to an item for every item that I take in. I wasn't monitoring what was clothing, what was makeup. I figured it would kind of even itself out in the end. So it was a surprise to me to add up these numbers, to go through all of my things and see how it ended up. So we're gonna go through all the categories. I'll share some numbers. I'll tell you how it contrasts to last year. I'll tell you my thoughts on it and my plan for the future. So I see that last year I started with face products, and I am going to start the same way this year. If you hear pages moving, it's just because I'm in the same notebook as I was last year, so I'm gonna be flipping back and forth. So for face primers, last year I had 4. This year I have 1. For moisturizers and SPFs, last year I had 4. This year, I have 2. For concealers, last year I had 5. This year I have 3. For foundations, last year I had 7. This year I have 1. For face palettes, I count them as either 3 of the same type of face powders in a compact together, or if it has any mixture of like a bronzer with a highlighter, then that makes it a face palette. So last year I had 10. This year I have 8. For bronzers, last year I had 1. This year I have 0. I have been trying to use up my bronzers right now that are in face palettes, and then after that I'll be able to decide what bronzer I want to bring into my collection. For blush, last year I had 17. This year I have 9. For highlighters, last year I had 11. And this year I have 6. For face powders, last year I had 5, and this year I have 2. For face and setting sprays, last year I had 2. This year I have 2. It's the same exact 2. For sponges, last year I had 3. This year I have 0. And for face brushes, last year I had 23, and this year I have 14. So my total last year was 93, and my total this year is 48. So that category that was already relatively small to begin with, it decreased by nearly half. Now I'm gonna go through the eye products, which we could argue is the most exciting category. For eyeshadow palettes, last year I had 47. This year I have 49. I want to briefly mention a couple reasons for that. So I meant to do an eyeshadow declutter during 2022, and if you saw my community post, I decided towards the end of it that I was going to hold off on that so I could keep making videos where I'm comparing an old palette to my single shadows, because I like those and you guys seem to like them as well. So because of that, I think I only decluttered one eyeshadow palette, the e.l.f. Jewel Pop Made for Mattes, right in the beginning of the year. But I also decided to no longer count my nostalgic makeup in my inventory. And I knew it was like a little bit skewed just because I remember last year after I counted my inventory, I realized I forgot to count some of my nostalgic makeup. So I don't know what exactly went into it and what didn't, but I believe I bought like 12 eyeshadow palettes throughout the year. So because my number only went up by 2 and I decluttered 1, what does that mean? I have 9 nostalgic palettes or something? I'm good at math, I swear. But this is a category that's a major opportunity for me in this coming year, because this will be the year that I do my eyeshadow palette declutter and I'll get the things out of there that I'm not using. This will be a big transformation for next year. So yeah, went from 47 up to 49. For my single pan, magnetic, single shadows, the good stuff, I went from 437 last year to 401 this year. For my non-pan shadows, my like individual shadows, ColourPop Super Shocks, those kind of things, I went from 38 to 20. For pot liners, I went from 9 to 3. Pencil and pen liners, I went from 37 to 20. Mascaras, I went from 9 to 5. Eye primer, I went from 3 to 3. I bet that's the same 3 as well. Lashes, I went from 5 to 2. We're gonna talk about lashes a little bit soon, but those are soon gonna be done with also, I bet. For brow products, I went from 5 to 5. Eye and brow brushes, I went from 51 to 27. So my total eye products in 2022 was 641, and in 2023, it was 535. So I didn't quite meet the 25% threshold in this category. Decluttering 25% of 641 would leave me with about 481 items, and I have 535. But I am still happy about how it went, and I know that it's skewed from the eyeshadow palettes. And overall, my goal with my eye makeup isn't to like get it down to bare bones, kind of like how I feel about face products, because eye products are what makes me happy. So I think it is interesting that I did manage to declutter my single pans so much while I still brought in new ones this year. And I think it's like not the worst number for me. Not the worst number for me. For lip products, last year my lip balm was 23. This year it's 11. Lip liner last year was 20, and now it's 12. Last year, lipstick was 46, now it's 19. Lip gloss went from 30 to 18. Matte liquid lipsticks went from 24 to 4. And other liquid lipsticks, my like velvety liquid lipsticks, went from 25 to 3. So my total lip products last year was 168. This year it's 67. That is massive. Every year my lip products are the biggest transformation. I know that the year before this, in 2021, I started with around 250 lipsticks. The fact that I'm down to 67 in 2 years, I love it. It's awesome. And then when it comes to my other products, my hair went from 22 to 16. My skin went from 22 to 14. My nail products, last year I had it separated between nail color and nail care. This year I just combined it. So last year my nail color was 105 and nail care was 3 for a total of 108. And now it's 75. And last year my perfume samples, the like little tiny guys, I had 22, now I have 4. And for anything larger than samples, I went from 12 to 10. And then for candles, I went from 7 to 7. So the total for other things, I just lost my page. So my total for other things went from 193 to 126. So to total everything together, last year was a total of 1,073. This year's a total of 776. So that means I decluttered all of my makeup categories by over 27%. I'm really happy with how it went for makeup. You can imagine I met the goal that I had for my stuff in my makeup category, and I'm continuing to really curate my collection and notice what it is that I like, what makes me happy, and getting rid of kind of the fluff and the filler that I used to have. I do think though that in a lot of these categories, they are pretty bare-boned, and I do want to allow myself room to change, to experiment, to, you know, follow my makeup dreams. And I don't want to give myself another ambitious goal for decluttering my makeup that will prevent me from enjoying myself. I also mentioned in my kind of budget update video that I posted, I think last week for you, that I do want to grow my channel and I do want to continue talking about new products. And as opposed to last year where my budget encompassed clothing and makeup in the same way, and if I was buying makeup, I was choosing that over buying clothing, I do want to kind of separate these things for this year and allow myself to purchase makeup for the purpose of talking about on my channel that I might not necessarily purchase if I didn't have this channel. But my channel is a living organism, and we're going to see how that feels. We're going to see how it affects my inventory, how it affects my relationship with the things that I love. And if I find that this new plan is detrimental in any way, I reserve the right to change it at any time. I also do want to get more comfortable with saying bye to things such as single eyeshadow pans, because sometimes even ones that aren't my favorite kind of feel like little precious gems and I like keeping them, but I want to be able to open my single pans and have it be completely a place of relaxation and joy. And I think being a little quicker to say bye to some things that are beautiful in their own right, but don't bring me joy, will go a long way. There are plenty of accounts and Instagram pages that are an encyclopedia of indie makeup, and I don't have to be. I don't have to be in every category. I know in some I still will be. I have no problem holding on to similar shades if I love them all, but I don't want to hold on to similar shades in colors that I don't love. And that's something that I want to focus on this year. So I am still going to be mindful of how my inventory is looking throughout the year, and I'm going to be mindful of how much I'm bringing in and how much I'm letting go of. I don't really want to go over the number that I have, but I don't feel the need to go massively under as long as I'm making good decisions that feel true to me and I'm enjoying my collection. So yeah, that's everything I wanted to report for today. I don't think it's going to be the next video. I'm not sure. But soon I'm going to have a video about my clothing inventory, and in that we're going to reveal the final number of my clothing plus my makeup and see if I actually made my 25% goal for my collection as a whole. So if you're interested in that, I recommend it. Of course, I wouldn't make it if I didn't recommend it. But yeah, if you enjoyed this, if you enjoy this kind of mindful thought on the ownership of makeup, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And thank you so much for being here. Bye.